Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. We're all cut from the same cloth, and that cloth is very, very large. It's not too big, is it?
Hey.
Kill yourself. It's wrong, isn't it?
It feels so right.
And it's a deal. I put together some really impressive deals. I like that. Go big or go home. Donald Trump. You know, you're really beautiful. A woman that looks like that has to have her own special scent.
It's the gun! Oh my God! Hey, Donald.
Oh, you look great.
Come on, thank you very much. I'm done with this restaurant.
Listen, are you bagging her? Huh? Are you? No, we just met. I'll call Willis.
Oh. Look at this, right here on the street. It's Donald Trump.
What are you, morons? Everything's set for tonight, Mr. Trump. I wonder what Trump's game is this time. Trump's got a new day. Trump's got a new deal. What's your game, Donald? Heard about Trump's new deal? What? That's right. Trump has a new game. What is it? My new game is Trump, the game. Trump, the game.
This sounds like political presidential talk. You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
I like that. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning. I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off.
That's the guy on the far right. Kevin.
Kevin, thank you. Well, I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, kids, make it fast. I've got a plane to catch.
We created a magazine. Mr. Trump, we give you strategy. Excuse me, where's the money?
Down the hall. Your male modeling would be what it is today. Gotta be with some money on this.
When can we expect the Epstein documents to be released? The rest of them?
Which documents?
The Epstein files?
I don't know. I'll speak to the Attorney General about that. I really don't know. I know that we've done the RFK, the Kennedy, Martin Luther King is out there very shortly, so we'll find out. But we've really announced we're doing them in full transparency. You know, when we did JFK, people were saying, "Oh, maybe it wasn't all; it was all," and people actually went up to the office and they looked at some things that were, you know, not really easily available, and they were amazed that we gave it all. And I don't know if it solved any problems for people. People still have questions one way or the other, but that I'm not. But 100% of all of these documents are being delivered. Yeah.
Declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so.
Okay, that was hilarious. And 9/11, yeah, absolutely. Kennedy, sure. Epstein, I guess so. I mean, less so. So I'm going to let you be your own judge. I'm going to give you the full context of that question in a second. You're going to see in these clips that 3 different times Trump is hesitant to release what's in the Epstein files. Gee, I wonder why. So now let's watch the full context of this question, and then I'll come back and give you all the Easter eggs in here.
Americans have lost a lot of trust in institutions, and I think there's been a lot of discussion, especially online and especially with young people. How do we rebuild that trust in institutions? The CIA, the FBI, all those institutions.
Yeah, you're right.
Some people think that one way to build trust is to declassify things that everyone's talking about. I know you talked earlier about it. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would
I
you,
did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you know, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world. But I think I would.
I think I would? There's a lot of phony stuff in there. A lot of phony stuff. I think I would. I don't know. Less so. I guess so. I don't know. Epstein. In fact, I'm going to give you one more interesting contrast here. Now, listen carefully to what he says here.
Do you think that would restore trust? Help restore trust?
Yeah, I don't know about Epstein so much as I do the others. Certainly about the way he died. It would be interesting to find out what happened there, because that was a weird situation and the cameras didn't happen to be working, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I'd go a long way toward that one. The other stuff I would definitely do the January 6th.
So that's the 3rd time. I don't know about the others. He said, what did he say? He said, I don't know about Epstein as I do the others. And notice that when it's about him dying in prison, there Trump is not involved. You can tell by that. There's 3 funny parts of this next clip. See if you can spot all 3.
How about the Unselect Committee? They had meetings. You know, they had all Democrats and 2 failed Republicans, right? Cheney and crying Adam Kinzinger. See, Biden couldn't do this interview. Do you think he'd remember crying Adam Kinzinger? Do you think he'd remember all these different names, these
Probably
different
not,
folks?
sir.
And I didn't know you were going to be talking about this, but you know, can you imagine? The whole thing is crazy. What we're doing, what we're going in. I got to know the leaders of all the countries, and they're at the top of their game. They're very sharp. They're vicious. That's why they're doing so well. Honduras, all of them. I know every one of them, and they're very streetwise people. You know that better than anybody. They're streetwise.
Okay, number 1, he's such a mess. He never went back to January 6 files or 9/11 files or Epstein files. He just got distracted on a tangent, went out for minutes. It goes on, never comes back to it.
Ask the Attorney General a question too, President.
Sure.
And your memo and release yesterday on Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of Saturday?
Yeah, sure. If I
Pam,
could,
could I just interrupt for
Sure.
1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep?
It's a lot
That
of
is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this, where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration. But
We're also going to talk tonight about Trump's response to some of the backlash on the Epstein cover-up. Did you see the clip? So last night we talked all about the new memo from the Department of Justice. They're wrapping up the Epstein scandal. They say there are no third parties they're going to investigate. They say there will be no further disclosures. They said that would not be appropriate. There is no client list. There was no blackmail ring. As a matter of fact, Jeffrey Epstein isn't real. He never existed. There's widespread outrage, obviously, about this. Today, Trump was asked about it in a cabinet meeting, and it was about the ugliest thing I've ever seen from Trump. And I think that's objective. I think everybody would agree. He sounded like a cornered animal.
Good evening and welcome to We Lied to You News. Our top story: the DOJ and FBI have officially concluded there is no Epstein list, along with the fact that he definitely killed himself and didn't have blackmail on any prominent figures. Now for the details.
So how do you know this?
That was close to straight.
But Mark, you do not believe what the administration, the Trump administration, is putting out about your brother now. Why?
Well, every time they say something or do something to try to quash the fact that he was most likely murdered, they just put their foot further down their mouth. I mean, for instance, Kash Patel in the congressional hearing, he listed his credentials as a prosecutor and other such things, and he said that it was a suicide. He said, "You know, a suicide when you see it." That's basically what he said. So the questions that popped into my mind was, first of all, number one, how many suicides has he seen? Number one. Two, is he a forensic pathologist? Does he have a medical degree? Does he have a certificate that he passed the CPR course? Does he have a Boy Scout merit badge for first aid? What is he basing his expertise on? Contrast that to Dr. Roman, who was a city pathologist who did the autopsy. She came out of the autopsy and said she couldn't call it a suicide because it looked too much like a homicide. Dr. Michael Bodden, who was there on my behalf, who witnessed the autopsy, also concurred that it looked more like a homicide than a suicide. Now, was Kash Patel in the autopsy room? No. Was Kash Patel in the prison when they found Jeffrey? No, I don't think so. And if he was there, that raises even a bigger question. So every time they say something, I mean, when Kash Patel came out with that statement, I laughed at how stupid it was. And then they just released this video. This you're going to like. After the death, a few days after the death, Bill Barr, the Attorney General, said he saw that video and he saw that nobody went in or out of the tier, and that convinced him it was a suicide. And I heard that and I realized how stupid that was, because no one could get to that door, go in, kill somebody, leave completely undetected. So that's like an asinine concept. So if Jeff was killed, he was either killed by somebody on the tier or when they locked up the tier. So that's one part of it. Now, I asked to get the footage from that same camera under Freedom of Information Act from 10 o'clock the night before until noon the following morning. That would show who locked up the tier, who were the last people on that tier. And in the morning, it would show, Michael Thomas going in the guard and finding the body, and it would show what the situation was when they removed the body from the tier. I was initially told I couldn't get that footage because it was still an open investigation. Okay, I understand that. But then when the investigation was over, I asked for that footage again, okay? And I was now told that the cameras that were operating don't show that area.
That's right.
I have this in writing from the Bureau of Prisons, that the cameras that were operating
I remember.
don't show that. And I was very specific about the footage, the same footage that Bill Barr saw.
No, Mark, listen, I get it. I get it. And the transparency wasn't there. And then they said that there was a malfunction. Then they said they weren't coordinated. And look, I get why you guys are upset about what's happening here. But I can tell you this, it's not over. And it's not about what I think or don't think about the situation. That's not relevant. The process isn't over. Liz, thank you. We'll be in touch whenever you want. You know how to get me. Take care. We'll keep talking. Mark Epstein, we're always a call away.
Former life, I was an insider as much as anybody else. And I knew what it's like, and I still know what it's like to be an insider. It's not bad. It's not bad. Now I'm being punished for leaving the special club and revealing to you the terrible things that are going on having to do with our country. Because I used to be part of the club, I'm the only one that can fix it. I'm doing this for the people, human smugglers. How bad is that? Human smuggling.
I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. There was about 3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump. I was 13. The first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job. And at first, I wasn't very comfortable with it. This was like my first party, and I didn't think that was my responsibility. But my recruiter told me that I needed to do it, so I agreed to. And then he, I began to. Sorry, this is a little difficult, but. Before I gave him a hand job, he kind of slapped my hand away and said, you need to use a glove. And the recruiter ran over and handed me a glove and said, no one touches Mr. Trump's penis without a glove. So I needed to use a glove. I gave him a hand job, and then immediately after, he had an orgasm, he left, and I didn't see him again at that party. Donald Trump knew that I was 13 because the first night that I was there, Tiffany actually suggested that she had a whole bunch of different wigs, and I expressed interest in them. I always told her that I would love to walk around with blue hair, and so I tried some on, and there was a blonde wig that she said that looked great on me. So I wore that wig, and Donald Trump had specifically asked about me because I remind him of his daughter, and she said, well, she's 13 as well. So he knew the first time that he saw me, but he took a liking to me because I look like his daughter.
That will be all. Thank you.